Who would have thought that making air cleaner would raise global temperatures, or that sustainable tourism is a double-edged sword? I remember riding on the bullet train in China a few years ago. I could tell every time we were approaching a city, as the air was gradually becoming darker as we approached. At first I thought these are storm clouds, but then I realized there was a smog cloud permanently hanging over each major city. Well, China's aggressive policies to lower air pollution over the past decade have led to significant reductions in aerosol concentrations. These aerosols, which are simply air pollutants like sulfur dioxide, have a dual role in our atmosphere though. While they are harmful to human health and the environment, they also possess reflective properties and send a portion of solar radiation back into space. This phenomenon, known as global dimming, has a net cooling effect on the Earth's surface. While cleaning the air, the Chinese have improved public health, yet they have also diminished the cooling shield provided by these pollutants. The removal of this reflective barrier has allowed more solar energy to reach the Earth's surface, contributing to rise in global temperatures. This unintended consequence underscores the delicate relationship between air quality management and climate change mitigation. So now there are actually proposals, not in China though, to inject aerosols into atmosphere to reflect sunlight and cool the planet, which could mitigate global warming, at least temporarily. However, these solutions, while seemingly simple, come with risks such as disrupting weather patterns and creating dependency on artificial interventions, which could have unexpected consequences, of course. Such paradoxes are not confined to China alone. For instance, in central London, significant reductions in vehicle emissions have led to one unintended consequence. All of a sudden, the gas boilers have become the leading source of nitrogen oxide pollution, accounting for 72% of nitrogen oxide emissions between 2021 and 2023. While the decrease in traffic-related pollution is a positive development, the prominence of gas boilers in London is, of course, a new challenge. Transitioning to cleaner heating technologies like heat pumps is essential, but high costs and infrastructure limitations pose significant barriers. This situation shows how addressing one source of pollution can highlight or worsen another, complicating the path to overall air quality improvement. Then there is nuclear power. It offers a low-carbon energy source that can significantly reduce greenhouse gas emissions. However, the decline of nuclear energy in certain regions due to economic challenges and public opposition presents another catch-22 situation. While decommissioning nuclear plants may address safety and waste disposal concerns, it often leads to increased reliance on fossil fuels to meet energy demands, thereby increasing carbon emissions. Germany's decision to shut down its nuclear power plants in 2023, which is part of a long-standing policy called Energiewende, or energy transition, had several strange, unexpected and negative consequences. Despite climate goals, Germany has at times ramped up coal use, especially lignite, brown coal, one of the dirtiest fuels out there, to meet energy demand after the loss of nuclear power. Germany also began importing electricity from France and the Czech Republic, both of which heavily use nuclear energy. So while Germany phased out its own nuclear plants, it became dependent on nuclear-powered imports. In 2023, net electricity imports increased substantially, with critics pointing out that Germany was simply outsourcing nuclear production. Germany's electricity prices have long been among the highest in Europe, and the phase-out added upward pressure. The cost of ramping up renewables and shutting down relatively cheap nuclear energy contributed to sudden price spikes and growing consumer frustration. These unstable and rising energy costs have hurt Germany's manufacturing sector, especially energy-intensive industries like steel, chemicals, or automotive. So Germany The economic engine of Europe saw some companies considering relocating abroad due to high energy prices. Germany once had a strong nuclear engineering and research community. With the phase-out, R&D funding dried up and expertise moved abroad, especially to France, the US, and even China. Now let's move on to the question of sustainable tourism, as I mentioned in the beginning. Tourism contributes significantly to global carbon emissions, of course, prompting calls for more sustainable travel practices. However, the concept of sustainable tourism presents yet another catch-22. Efforts to promote eco-friendly travel can lead to increased tourism in sensitive areas, potentially causing environmental degradation. Additionally, the infrastructure required to support sustainable tourism can itself have a substantial environmental footprint. Thus, while aiming to reduce the negative impacts of travel, sustainable tourism initiatives must carefully navigate the paradox of promoting travel while preserving the very environments that attract tourists. If everyone, all of a sudden, stopped visiting the cities and chose to see, say, the woodlands, then it would have been a disaster for the forests everywhere. There are additional examples of catch-22 scenarios in environmental policy, where solutions to one problem can create new challenges, such as hydropower versus the ecosystems. Hydropower is a renewable energy source, but building dams can disrupt river ecosystems, harm aquatic life, and displace human communities, of course. Afforestation versus biodiversity. Planting trees to combat climate change is beneficial, but large-scale monoculture plantations can reduce biodiversity and harm local ecosystems. Recycling versus energy use. Recycling reduces waste and conserves resources, but the process itself can be very energy intensive and may produce emissions if not managed sustainably or properly. Desalination versus marine life. Desalination provides fresh water in arid regions, but it produces brine as a byproduct, which can harm marine ecosystem when discharged into the ocean. Another one is carbon offsetting versus local communities. Carbon offset projects like reforestations can help reduce emissions, but they sometimes displace local communities or restrict their access to land and resources. Ultimately, these intricate and often paradoxical challenges in environmental policy remind us that there are no easy and simple solutions. Every decision carries consequences, rippling through ecosystems, economies, and societies. Unfortunately, we are marred by having leaders who prefer PR to thoughtful change. Perceptions have become the reality, and easy fixes have become national and international policies. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to my channel. Knowing is winning.